Hi everybody, this is the week 10 presentation by Betsy Roslin and Mike Roisman. We were tasked with doing a document classification model. We were given a data set that we could use trying to classify spam from non-spam emails, but we were also allowed to choose our own data set, so we chose to go with the texts in the Gutenberg corpus that comes with the NLTK package in Python. So we started by just looking at Austen texts versus William Blake to see if we could classify the author. So the first thing we had to do was combine all the Austen texts into one. We had to remove punctuation and put everything in lowercase so that we could remove duplicates. Then we took what was left and we created segments of 1,000 words each so that we wound up with 366 1,000 word segments from Austen. We did the same thing with Blake, skipping the Bible because it has many different authors. And for Blake, we wound up with only 7 segments, which had to be a little bit shorter just so we could get 7 segments out of it. They're 990 words. Then we created our feature extractor. To do that, first we had to find the 2,000 most frequent words in the two texts, or two authors combined. So using those 2,000 words, we then used a function to create features that would basically just indicate whether or not each of those words was present in the text. We tested it out on the Blake text so you could see what that looks like. Then we did a test train split, so we had to put the all our 1,000 word texts together into one list and then shuffle that list and then split it into 2 pieces. Since we had close to 400 texts, we used the first 100 for our training and the rest for our testing. We got a 97% accuracy, which is pretty darn good for classifying between Austen and Blake. So then we decided to just one by one add additional authors. We added Bryant, and that brought our accuracy actually up a tiny bit from 97% to 98%. Then we added Burgess. And at that point, we started to see a small decline, but we're still in the mid-90s, which is really good. And we started looking at which words were the most impactful in our model. So here you can see what those are. Then we added Carol, doing the same thing again. On here now we saw a much larger decline in accuracy, probably because at this point our training set is a smaller percentage of our total corpus, and we're adding more categories to classify into at the same time. But we figured let's just keep adding and see what happens. We add Chesterton, which didn't change our accuracy too much. We're still at 88%. So then we just added the rest of the authors all at one time to see what would happen. And we got a 90% accuracy. So it actually brought up the accuracy when we had more authors. Oh, and I forgot to mention, at some point here, since we now had 676 texts when we added Chesterton, we increased our training set to keep it at about 25% of the corpus. So there we have 170 in the training set. And then once we added all the rest of the authors, we brought it up to 320 to keep it at about 25% of that total 1,259. So not too bad. And that is our presentation. Thanks for watching.